so much for coming in today. Let's start with you just telling me a little bit about what brings you in.
Okay. Well, I'm a college student.
Okay.
I'm really struggling with, anxiety. When I turn in papers and when I go to take tests, I can't sleep the night before, and I get really nervous, like an upset stomach. I breathe really fast, and my heart beats really fast, and so just really anxious all the time, and it's kind of interfering with my everyday life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned you're a student, so tell me a little more about that. What year are you? What are you studying? Where do you attend?
Okay, I'm a junior at Tribeca Nazarene University.
Okay.
I'm studying psychology.
Great. So do you enjoy going to school there?
Yeah.
Your major?
I really do.
Great. Where do you see yourself going with that major?
Probably into counseling eventually.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
Therapy.
great.
Yeah.
Great. So let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about your family growing up. What was that like for you?
Well, my family kind of always had high expectations of me, like my parents, and kind of expected my best and everything, like whether it be sports or academics. They just always demanded a lot, and I remember in school, like they were like, you have to have a 95 or above average, because that's what you can do, because that's your best, and we know you can do it. They always wanted me to live up to my potential, and both of them were educators, so they knew, like, they didn't like it when people didn't give their best when they knew they could. Just kind of getting by in school and things like that.
I see. So what was that like for you as a student growing up with such expectations at home?
It was really hard. Like, every time I brought home a grade that wasn't so good, I would get, not really in trouble, but really kind of chastised by my parents. They would just be like, that wasn't your best, you can do better. And it was like, not like a pointing the finger, but kind of like, we're kind of disappointed that you didn't do as well as we know you can do.
Sure. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about your family structure. Were you an only child? Did you have older or younger siblings?
There was two of us, me and I had a little brother.
Okay, so you are the oldest of two children.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so what about maybe your relationship with your parents in comparison to the relationship your brother had with your parents? Were there any differences?
A little bit. Like, they expect the same of us, so like that doesn't differ really. But I'm more of like a perfectionist, want to please everybody, and my brother's really carefree, laid back, so like there's not as much pressure on him, I don't feel like, to do really well. Like, they expect him to do well, but if he messes up or if he doesn't get the grade, they're like, okay, but you know what you need to do to meet our expectations. So it's kind of like they get upset, but it's not like he does what he can to get like where he needs to be as far as expectations go with our parents.
So what I'm hearing then is that maybe they were a little bit more relaxed with his performance and abilities in comparison to how they accepted what you were doing in academic performance.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that sounds like a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, switching gears a little bit again, let's talk about your earliest memory as a child. Is there anything that stands out to you? Maybe it's just the first thing that you remember.
Okay. Well, I think the earliest one, I was about 4 years old.
Okay.
Probably right around the time my brother was born. I was at my best friend's house.
Okay.
And we were being really mean to her little sister.
Okay.
And she went and tattled on us, and her parents got kind of upset with us because we were being mean, and then I was really worried that they were going to tell my parents and that I was going to get in trouble because my parents had taught me, like, oh, you need to be kind to everybody and you need to love everybody, but I did it at that time, so I was scared I was going to get in a lot of trouble because I didn't.
Okay, so what might have happened had your parents found out that you were being mean to your friend's sister?
I think they would have been really disappointed in me.
Okay.
They probably, like, they wouldn't have, like, disciplined me, like, all that much. They probably would have given me a talk, and, like, I'm one of those people, like, you look at them and you know you're in trouble and you're like, oh, sorry, I know I did wrong.
Yeah.
But they just would have been really disappointed because they knew how I should have acted, but I didn't act that way.
Okay.
So they, yeah.
So how would you feel if you thought that your parents were disappointed in you?
I just would feel like kind of paralyzed, like kind of like they didn't really like love me anymore because I messed up. I was really scared that like not that they've ever given me any reason to, but I was just really scared that like, oh, I messed up and now I'm not worthy of love or something like that, just not worthy of
Those are a lot of big emotions for a child to feel.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you have experienced a lot of anxiety just throughout your lifespan.
Yeah.
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 Okay, wow. So, ultimately, if you could think of where you could end up in life as an ultimate goal or dream, what would that look like?
I think ultimately I just want to be okay with like not necessarily like messing up, but like if I make a mistake, it's okay because I know everything will work out in the end type thing. But just knowing that I've always done my best, and even if my best wasn't good enough, that was okay, and I would be okay with that, because just knowing that, oh, I'm gonna make mistakes because this is life, like people make mistakes all the time, but if I just being at peace with just my life in general and being okay with being good enough.
Okay, great. Yeah. Great. So just accepting yourself for what you are able to do and loving yourself through that.
Yeah, and my abilities, like just being
wonderful.
Like, I have the ability to do this and I'm gonna put all I can into it, and that's good enough. Like that's fine.
Okay, great. So Colleen, let's say that you are preparing for a test. What might happen if you did not make an A or a 95 on that test?
I would feel like a failure. Like I would just feel so bad because I put so much effort into like studying for a test that I really wanted to do well on, and when I didn't, I would just kind of feel bad about myself. Like I wasn't good enough, I guess.
Wow. So would these feelings that you might experience, would those keep you from reaching that goal that you were just telling me about?
Yeah, I think I would feel, they would kind of keep me, just, I wouldn't feel good enough. If I hadn't studied for the test, I would be like, oh, it's okay, I didn't study as much as I needed to, like, or I should have. So I'd kind of be down on myself.
Okay.
But if I studied for it, I would just feel like, oh, like, I messed up. I should have done more because I studied, but I didn't study as much as I could have. So I would kind of just, it was like back in, I don't know.
Okay.
It's just kind of weird.
So I think what I'm hearing is that you feel that if you don't get an A, that you're not a good enough person.
Well, not necessarily a good enough person, just not a good student.
Okay.
I'm not living up to my potential, and I'm not being as good as I can be.
Okay, so it sounds like you put a lot of emphasis on other people believing your true abilities as a student. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about why that's so important to you.
I just don't want people to be disappointed in me, like I guess professors. I just want them to be able to see like my ability as a student and not like, because I mean in college, like you want to be noticed and you want to be recognized, like, oh, she is a good student, and when that doesn't happen, you're just like, oh, I'm just one in a sea of like hundreds in this case, and I just want to do the best I can so people will notice and not be disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. So Colleen, do you think it's possible that your professors might see more of you than just your test scores?
I mean, I guess I can see how like I interact with my peers and how I interact with them, like on like just a personal level and not just my academics, and like how much effort I put into their classes. So
so you do think that there may be some other domains that they can recognize your abilities and your success as a student?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you could pick specific things that teachers would recognize in you. Tell me a little bit more about what those things would be.
I think really I would just want them to see me as a person, a whole person, who's capable of making good grades and who like is still a good student even if I don't make the best grade in the world. Just want them to see how like that I'm honest and diligent with my work and that I'm gonna do the best at whatever I do. Like I'm gonna put my effort in and to get the best grade possible.
Great. I think those are great things that you would hope that they would see in you. Colleen, do you think it's possible that perhaps they already see these things in you?
I mean, it's possible. I guess they could. It makes sense. Like, it makes sense.
Let's think about when you're going into a test.
Okay.
You're about to take a test. What sorts of emotions might you be experiencing?
Yeah, I just get like really like my heart starts beating really fast. I start getting like breathing really hard, and like usually the night before I can't really sleep. I just get really nervous and like I can't eat either because I'm like I just gotta like because I'm just so nervous I can't like I just feel really bad, so it kind of hinders that a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I have a little idea about maybe a technique that could help you as you're about to take that test that might help you calm down a little bit and relax for that. Are you open to talking about that?
Sure.
Okay.
Anything helps.
So let's think about maybe just a few really short phrases that you might could repeat to yourself before you're about to take this test.
Okay.
So maybe something like, I am more than a test grade.
Okay.
Or I have done my very best to prepare for this test.
Yeah.
I don't know, add a phrase for me. Give me something.
It's okay that I didn't do my best on this test.
Okay.
Maybe.
It's okay if I don't make an A.
Yeah, it's okay if I don't. It's okay if I make a B, or even if like I put in my effort.
Great. So let's come up with 3 phrases.
Okay.
So you go ahead and think through that, and we'll practice those together.
Okay.
What 3 phrases?
I think I am more than a test score.
I am more than a test score.
I have done my best.
I have done my best.
And it's okay if I don't make an A.
It's okay if I don't make an A.
Yeah.
I am more than a test score. I have done my best, and it's okay if I don't make an A.
Yeah.
So maybe the next time that you're going in to take a test, you can take about 60 to 90 seconds before and just repeat these phrases in your head. So I am more than a test grade. I have done my best, and it's okay to not make an A.
Right.
Okay.
I think that could really help. You know, if I did it a lot before the test. Yeah.
Okay, so in the next week, I would just encourage you to practice repeating those phrases and mantras to yourself when you're in a stressful environment academically. Okay. I think we've accomplished a lot today, Colleen.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So let's plan to meet back next week.
Okay.
Our receptionist will schedule an appointment for you, and I will see you then.
Okay. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Colleen.
Yeah.